Sustainable finance is blowing up, and I mean, projections are saying it could hit like $100 trillion, which is just mind-blowing.
That's insane. That's more than most countries' GDP.
And you know what's even more interesting? Blockchain is going to be a huge part of this whole thing.
Okay, see, now I know you're thinking, here we go again with the crypto, but this is different.
For sure.
We're talking about using blockchain to actually tackle climate change.
Great.
And today, we're diving deep into Cardano.
And the best part is they're not just talking about it, they're actually doing it. They've come up with this really interesting proposal, and not just in the blockchain space either.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're talking about major corporations, even the World Bank is sniffing around. Everyone sees the potential here.
Okay, so we've got blockchain, sustainability, and a whole lot of money being thrown around. But why? What makes blockchain so perfect for this kind of thing?
Honestly, it all comes down to trust and transparency. You see, with traditional systems, there's always been this issue of like, okay, how do we know this company is actually offsetting their emissions? Or is this carbon credit legit, or is it just some made-up thing? With blockchain, you get rid of all that doubt because every single transaction, every piece of data, it's all recorded on this immutable ledger. So you can track it, you can verify it, and there's no way to cheat the system.
So it's kind of like a global tamper-proof record keeper.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this GuildOne thing. What exactly are they proposing?
So GuildOne, they're basically building this really ambitious open source platform on Cardano.
Okay.
And
blockchain carbon space, right?
Exactly. But create a whole climate initiative with a bunch of different tools.
Interesting. And when are they planning to launch this thing?
Well, they're aiming for the 2024 Cardano Summit.
Wow. So that's coming up pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's a tight deadline, but they seem confident they can pull it off.
Well, they're not picking a small problem to solve, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely not. And that's actually what I find so interesting about their approach. They're really focusing on this huge problem that no one's really figured out how to solve yet.
What's that? Greenwashing. Everyone's claiming to be eco-friendly these days, but how much of it's actually true?
Right. And, you know, governments are starting to crack down on it, too.
They are.
Like Canada, the UK, California, they're all bringing in these rules that say companies have to report not just their own emissions, but also their entire supply chains.
Which is a lot.
Oh, yeah. It's incredibly complex. We're talking about Scope 3 emissions here, and it's basically a logistical nightmare to try to track all that stuff.
Yeah, it's like a tangled mess of data.
Exactly. They want to create this digital paper trail for sustainability where everything is tracked and verified.
Smart. Okay, so how does it work? What's the secret sauce?
Well, it's built on these three main components.
Okay.
You've got your emissions data management system, then there's an integrated Cardano wallet, and finally the Cardano identity piece.
Okay, that sounds kind of techy. Can you break it down a bit? Like, let's say a company that wants to prove I'm doing my part for the environment. How would I use this platform?
Sure. So let's imagine you're a company and you want to show everybody that you're serious about sustainability. You'd use their emissions data management system to track all your emissions data, kind of like a digital notary for everything you do to help the environment.
Got it. So it's like a verified record, green activities.
Exactly. And once that data is in the system, it can then be tokenized into carbon credits.
And this is where the Cardano wallet comes in.
Right. Think of it as a secure place to store and manage these digital assets.
Okay, so the wallet's where I keep track of my green cred, essentially.
Exactly. But here's the really clever part. There's also this Cardano identity component, right?
Right. What does that do?
So that's like the security guard of the whole system. Verifies everyone's identity, manages access, and makes sure everything is, totally tamper-proof. And that's crucial, right? Because if we're talking about carbon markets and all that, there's got to be that trust, that guarantee that everything's legit.
Oh, absolutely. There's been so much skepticism around carbon credits, with double counting and all that.
For sure.
This sounds like it could be a game changer in terms of actually making these markets work the way they're supposed to.
Yeah. And you know what else is cool?
Right.
This isn't just about tracking emissions.
It's not.
No. They're talking about actually incentivizing positive action. Like, remember that project we talked about, the one in Australia?
The one with the tokenized carbon credits for protecting habitats.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
So instead of just punishing companies for polluting, this is about actually rewarding people for protecting the environment.
Exactly.
That's pretty awesome. So we're talking about a system that's transparent, secure, and actually incentivizes people to do the right thing. I mean, that's pretty powerful stuff.
It is. And you know what's exciting to me is that this one platform could completely change how we approach sustainability.
Totally.
We're talking about transparent carbon markets, making businesses' lives easier with this whole emissions reporting thing.
And even helping to protect endangered species.
Exactly. It's about bringing everything together, you know?
Yeah, creating this whole ecosystem where everyone benefits.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about Cardano for a second.
Okay, yeah.
Because if GuildOne actually pulls this off, this could be huge for them, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, imagine if they become like the platform for this whole sustainable finance boom.
Right.
They'd have all these developers, all these investors flocking to Cardano.
Too, right?
Absolutely. Because let's face it.
Because right now, blockchain doesn't exactly have the best reputation when it comes to the environment.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
People think it's all energy-intensive mining and,
Yeah.
hurting the planet.
But Cardano's different, right? They've got that whole proof of stake thing.
Exactly. They're already way more energy efficient.
So they're starting with a leg up.
Exactly. And then you add something like GuildOne on top of that, and suddenly you've got a really compelling story.
It's not just about the tech anymore. It's about what you can do with it.
Exactly. And that's what I think is so exciting about this whole space right now.
It's almost like saving the planet could be the thing that finally makes blockchain mainstream.
Right. It could be. It's not about the tech itself, It's about the problems you can solve with it.
Totally. Like, can you imagine telling someone a few years ago that you're using blockchain to fight climate change? They'd probably think you were crazy.
Yeah, totally. But that's the thing about this space. It's constantly evolving. And I think we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
Okay, so you're saying this whole GuildOne thing,
Yeah.
even if it doesn't work out perfectly,
Yeah,
it could still be like a catalyst for something much bigger.
absolutely. Think about it. What if this just becomes the norm? What if every blockchain project out there suddenly realizes, hey, we need to get on board with this whole sustainability thing?
It could be like a domino effect.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it wouldn't have to stop there.
What do you mean?
Think about other industries. What if this inspires them to start using blockchain for their own sustainability goals?
Okay, yeah. I see what you're saying. It's not
Yeah.
just about one company or one platform. It's about changing the whole game.
Exactly.
Wow. That's pretty exciting to think about.
It really is.
All right, so let's try to wrap this up. We've talked about the potential of sustainable finance, Cardano's role in all of this, and GuildOne's ambitious plan to kind of shake things up.
We really have covered a lot.
We have, but honestly, this is just the beginning of the conversation.
Oh, for sure.
There's so much more to explore, and I have a feeling this whole space is going to look completely different in a few years.
Absolutely. Things move fast in this world.
You really do.
Yeah.
But hey, that's why we're here, right? To break it all down and try to make sense of it.
Exactly.
So what do you think? What did we miss? How do you think blockchain and sustainability are going to change the world?
Yeah. Let us know. We're dying to hear your thoughts.
Hit us up on Twitter. Leave a comment on our website, whatever you got to do. We love hearing from you. And until next time, stay curious.
And stay sustainable.